Let's rewind some shows and revisit the past. Whether it's reality TV or crime stories like Forensic Files, get the popcorn out, relax, and curl up with Maribel Blue in her new Unfiltered Rewind show.
Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue and welcome to my second channel, the Unfiltered Rewind channel. If you are new here, welcome to this channel. I am building it up, so please subscribe, watch the whole video in its entirety. And if you are not new, welcome back. So this channel is dedicated to old television shows like Forensic Files, A Haunting, or The Haunting. There's two of them. There's one that's dedicated for animals and one that's dedicated for humans who experience haunting in their homes, reality TV, and everything else in between. So last story, I talked about Taylor Armstrong and her husband, Russell Armstrong, because Investigation Discovery is doing all of these exposés on different housewives, and I talked about Taylor Armstrong and the experiences that she had while Russell was alive. Today, we're going to switch it up. We are going to talk about the television show A Haunting, which I think was on the Discovery Channel, and they featured different stories of people who had experienced hauntings. This actual story really spooked me. It still even spooks me to this day. It's a house called Summerwind. And Ginger Hinshaw in 1969, I believe the year was 1969, she found this house and fell in love. Now, what I'd like to do is take you back in the year 1969 and what events happened. In 1969, the Apollo 11 landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin being the first humans to walk on the moon. Richard Nixon became the 37th president of the United States. Muammar Gaddafi led a coup that overthrew King Idris, establishing a new regime in Libya. The Woodstock Festival began. The Stonewall riots took place and sparked the rights of the LGBT movements at that time in 1969. Native Americans seized Alcatraz, highlighting indigenous right issues. And this is the this is the crazy one. The first ATM was installed at the Rockwell Center. The first ATM in 1969. And in 1969, Ginger Hinshaw was visiting a friend when they drove to what was known as the haunted house. Ginger talked about this house as if it spoke to her. She fell in love with this house. She said she felt like the house needed her and needed her to take care of this house. Now, this reminds me of the movie with Karen Black. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was a 3-story movie, and the last story was with the doll. But the first story had to do with the house. I have to apologize. I do truly have my movies confused. While Karen Black did star in this movie, the movie I'm talking about is called Burnt Offerings with the House. And this Summerwind kind of reminds me of this story. This is probably why it freaks me out. Karen Black was like the queen of Scream. You think about a house and having some weird emotional connection to it, especially a haunted house. She thought about buying the house, but she wanted to bring her family over to the house so that they could have their own experience. But the house was run down. It was messy. It was unlivable. Her husband at the time, Arnold, had his own construction company. So for her and her husband and bringing him to the house, he looked at it as this was a doable project. They can get people to come in and start construction, fixing up the house and bringing it, basically restoring the house to its former glory. But that was not going to happen in Summerwind. The daughter I really love the daughter in this particular episode. You can just hear in her voice how disgusted she was to live in a house that was not ready to move in. They were basically going to be living under construction in that house. She had a completely different feeling over that house. It was something she said her and her sisters always felt like they were being watched. When you're a child and you have certain feelings and then you talk about it with your parents and your parents are like, oh, it's just all in your head or you're just spooking yourself. There aren't monsters under the bed or in your closet. I mean, that was the premise of Poltergeist with the clown under the bed or the closet. And this is the reason why Carol Ann wanted the night light on in the closet so she wouldn't be completely in the dark while sleeping. And every child will always have that experience. They'll always feel like there's a monster hiding under their bed. For the daughter, the way she spoke on this house, it was almost as if wherever it was they were living in peace, and then suddenly they were living in a nightmare. Moving on to when they started to move in, and Arnold was looking for construction workers to start renovating the house. They found that when they were having discussions with other contractors about coming in and taking this project, one minute they would be like really excited, but once they found out the address that it was the Summerwind house, they were like, no, no, we're busy. We have other projects that we're working on. The scary thing about that whole thing is, imagine moving into a house and it has to be renovated and you're looking for people to work in that house and people are like, nope, we want nothing to do with that house. It's haunted. We have not heard good things about it, and they don't want that bad juju around them. And you can't blame them for that. Ginger Hinshaw figured, I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to work with my husband. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He owns his own construction company. So we are going to figure this out and make this work. So according to the story of the TV show A Haunting, Ginger was going about, cleaning the house and going through whatever was old there that they needed to get rid of. She ends up finding the blueprints to the house, which became a whole other obsession with her. Because it wasn't just finding the blueprints, but also finding colors of the paintings of the house. And she became obsessed with looking for the right color. It's almost as if you want to restore the house, you can't find the exact color of the painting. Usually we'll find something close to it that's of your liking. It was as if something took over her and was leading her to find the exact color. And it becomes an obsession. It doesn't become a joyful project of restoring and renovation. It becomes an obsession. It's almost as if your soul is not owned by you, but owned by an exterior force telling her and directing her. And as much as Ginger did not want to believe that her house was haunted, she started having unusual experiences. If she put something down and go somewhere else and come back, she would find it in a different place or not find it at all. Or chairs were being moved from one side to another. And as much as she didn't want to acknowledge, because I know a lot of people who have experienced hauntings, I have personally experienced haunting. You think to yourself, if you ignore it, you're not engaging with it. Sometimes that doesn't work because they will still somehow make themselves apparent. Now, it wasn't until one day Ginger found herself alone in the house. The kids were in school. I guess Arnold was away at that moment. She heard her name being called. Now, she knows that nobody's there. And if you're hearing your name being called, you've got to acknowledge that everything that everybody else is saying, that something is there with you, which may be unnatural. And she didn't want to acknowledge it. She says in her interview she had a job to do, and that was restoring the house to what it once was. While she's going through her own obsession of trying to find colors and painting and restoration of what this house once was, Arnold had become an entirely different person. There was an organ in the house, and he became obsessed with playing the organ. Like in the beginning, with the kids around, it was all fun and games, but it became a sickness almost. And Ginger talked about how the music started to change. It became darker and sinister. He didn't want to be bothered by anybody. He was yelling at the kids. And even the daughter had explained, she said he changed into somebody they all did not recognize. One minute he was this loving stepfather, and the next minute he was terrorizing them, and they were afraid of him. So afraid, they had a pet raccoon, and he unalived that raccoon out of anger. Now, a haunting doesn't go into detail about what happened to the raccoon, and for me, I wouldn't even want to know. That's really disturbing that something in a person can get them so riled up and angry like that he would hurt an animal. That would have been the end for me. I mean, if I had known somebody hurt one of my animals, I won't even say here on this channel what I would do. It's just absolutely disturbing. Arnold had turned into, I don't want to say demonic, because I think people throw demons and demonic around way too much without really understanding what a demon is, the definition of what demonic is. I'm not going to say Arnold was demonic in some sort of sense. He was experiencing a possession where that house took over his soul. Whatever was there took over in him in that way that made him evil, whereas he may not have been an evil person. When you hear Ginger talk about the kind of person that he was, he owned his own business. He lost everything being possessed by whatever forces was going on in that house. It came to a point where they could no longer pay their bills because he lost his business. So they had no water, they had no electricity. Ginger had to just give up this dream of restoring this house and called her father and said, "Come get us. I can't do this shit anymore." And that's what she did. They left the house. She left her husband. She left him there. And that was the last time she saw him. Her father picked her up. He's never seen that house before. He picked her up. She told him everything that had happened, the hauntings, the things disappearing or moving around. There was a window that they kept experiencing opening up. She had to nail it shut. They were arguing because she thought Arnold was the one opening up the window and he thought she was the one opening up the window, and it became like a whole discord among them of who was opening up the window. Her father just couldn't understand the whole concept of hauntings and the disturbance that was happening at Summerwind, and he found trouble believing her. Now, before I go into the next part of the story, I want to go ahead and share a little bit of history on Summerwind. Because there's so little history on the house itself, who knows what was tormenting Arnold? So I found this site, and I'm going to go ahead and read what it says about Summerwind. With its long and eerie history, Summerwind Mansion may be the most haunted place in Wisconsin. It's certainly the most notorious of all of Wisconsin hauntings, having been featured in numerous paranormal TV shows, A Haunting Season 1, Episode 2, and books Haunted Summerwind. Legend says Summerwind was haunted from the day it was built in 1916, and its original owner, U.S. Secretary of Commerce Robert Patterson Lamont, once took aim and fired at a ghost he encountered in the house, leaving permanent bullet holes in the wood. Other paranormal phenomenon: voices coming from empty rooms, doors and windows opening or closing on their own, a ghost of a woman. A corpse was discovered in a closet that later vanished. The ghost of Jonathan Carver searching for a Wisconsin land deed hidden in the foundation. Summerwind was abandoned after driving the Hinshaw family mad during their brief 6 months occupation of the home and scaring off workers attempting to restore the dilapidated property in the 1970s. Because there's such little history about Summerwind, just what these websites I have found, and I'll link those down below. It's hard to grasp and understand what was tormenting Arnold to bring him to a point where the family had to flee from him, where Ginger basically had to get a divorce because she was like, how could I be with a man who's tortured in a way, who just wants to sit all day long and play demon style music on an organ and not participate in his life? Nobody knows what happened to Arnold afterward. Did he recover after he left the house? Was he able to recoup his business and start over? Nobody knows. But in the second part of this story, I shared with you about Ginger telling her dad everything that was going on. Unbeknownst to her, at some point, her dad got the same feeling. While Ginger was in that house, as much as she tried to incorporate some kind of normalcy, like before she surrendered to her dad and it was like, come and get me, she did try to incorporate some kind of normalcy as she was fixing the house. She had invited friends over. They got their own spooky experience and left. She said she never saw them again. Imagine inviting your friends over and you're like giving them tea and going to get something to eat for them, and they see something scary in a corner and they're like, peace, we're out. And it's so sad that all of these things happened to her as a result. Now, fast forward to her dad. Her father, even though he did not believe anything, by this time in 1972, Ginger had moved over to Canada. Her experiences got her to get into like the esoteric, tarot, hypnotizing. Like, she started reading all of these books because she wanted to understand why and how. And I think, in the world of the paranormal, we don't understand why and how. We just know of experiences we have. I went to Bobby Mackey's and I found the videos and a lot of EVP. I keep saying that I'm going to put them up. At some point, I am going to share a little bit of the videos and the EVPs that I found. I did have weird experiences at Bobby Mackey. And when I got home, I remember after the plane, I just wanted to get in the shower and just wash everything off from me. I saw something walk by in my bathroom. It was like a wispy thing. Now, me being the person who likes to debunk, I thought that maybe it was like the glass, because I had shower doors and I hated those doors for the life of me. I had them removed because I love shower curtains. So I thought maybe it was something in the glass, and then I started wiping down the glass and just trying to imitate what I just saw in my bathroom, and I couldn't. So I don't know what it was, but I can tell you there's not anything weird going on in my house, but our cameras have caught orbs, which was strange, and it still does. So there. So now Ginger is living in Canada and she's immersing herself and getting to know like the paranormal, hypnotism, all of these good things. She has no idea. Her father is entertaining purchasing Summerwind. Now, the house is already owned by other people, and the woman won't even go in there. Okay. She wants nothing to do with going into the house. Anybody who wants to see them, she sits in the car, she gives them the key and let them explore the house for themselves. Her brother was coming from the Vietnam War at the time. And the father thought, wouldn't it be great if I can give my son like a project to restore this house? I don't know why it had to be that house. But when you think about what Ginger felt when she first saw that house, and then her father started to feel the same way, it's very strange to be in the presence of a house and it makes you feel some kind of a way. I'm getting creeped out talking about it. But anyway, the son comes from Vietnam. He says, okay, Dad, this is going to be good. I'm going to be busy and do something. Again, no one wants to have any part of restoring this house at all. The son, he had set up like a camper outside and he slept there. So that way he's not traveling back and forth. He can go and into the house and fix it. He was basically fixing it by himself because, again, no construction worker, no contractor, no one, they wanted nothing to do with fixing up this house at all. And it so happens the day comes where the brother is there, or the son is there, I should say, Ginger's brother. He had an experience where he literally screamed and ran out of that house and didn't even want to look back. When he comes back, the father is suspicious. Like, what happened? He goes, oh, like something stopped working. He made up some bullshit story. But whatever experience he had, he could not keep it to himself. And it would be a day, Ginger, her dad, and her brother, they're all together. And she's talking about, this hypnosis thing. But at the same time, she discovers that her dad was purchasing that house and gave a project to her brother to fix that house, which was very upsetting. But they got to talk about the experiences of what happened in that house. While they're busy talking, her brother is biting his fingernails, and she comes up with this grand idea. She's like, I'm getting into hypnosis, and there's a way that you can stop biting your nails. So let me hypnotize you. And that hypnosis session became what he had experienced in that house. And he became possessed, which Ginger was not prepared for. And this is a scary thing. Like, when you're going to put somebody under hypnosis, you have to be prepared in all forms. And she was lucky to get her brother out of that situation. But the things he was saying over and over and over again and talking about children he does not have was very scary for all of them. And as a result, she decides to put her father under hypnosis. And during this hypnosis session was when he found himself in the house looking for a deed. And he sees this hallway, and in the hallway there's like a brick wall, and in that brick wall was a case, and he pulls out the case and he sees the deed. Now, in real life, they go to the house. As much as she didn't want to go to the house, they go to the house. They go right to the spot he saw, and there was no deed. There was nothing there. So it's very strange what he saw under hypnosis. I'm talking about the brother. The brother's name is Raymond, and the father's name is Raymond as well. So it was Ray and Raymond Jr., just for context, because I'm over here like looking through my notes and I completely forgot that I wrote down his name. So the brother's name is Raymond and the father's name is Ray. Now, when you think about this house and the land that it's sitting on in Wisconsin, I go back to the indigenous, the originators of this land, the way they worshipped the earth. And they still do to this day. And I think, this is just my own personal opinion, I think when Christopher Columbus and his band of red squirrels came running in and started invading this land, I think the indigenous people saw like a future of what was happening and the disrespect of Mother Earth. And if that was the case, they could have possessed the land on purpose so that if anybody tried to live in that house, they wouldn't be able to live peacefully. This is just my own observation, because we have a lot of different places in the United States that's very haunted. So this could be the case. And while Jonathan Carver, who Ray Sr. saw the name of the deed on the house, the deed that they never found, claims that he was the original owner of the house, because this is what Ray had experienced during his hypnosis session with his daughter, Ginger. There's no proof. There's very little information on this Summerwind house. The daughter, however, with her experiences she had with that house, she would never go back there. She says on her interview on A Haunting, she would never go back there. She was so traumatized when she hears the wind blowing, it frightens her. It's almost as if the perception of Mother Earth altered the way she views things. It's kind of like that person who had maybe a terrifying experience in a thunderstorm. And now when they hear a thunderstorm, it freaks them out. And it's the same way with her with the wind. So I just want to go ahead and read this end here on my notes. I think we all know the building of USA what occurred. Our history is ugly to say the least, with the natives having been invaded. I personally believe the natives have a connection with the land many of us do not understand. While we may never know the mystery behind Summerwind, I personally believe it's not the house, but is the land that is possessed. Summerwind burnt down, I believe, in 1988. It was said the house was struck 3 times by lightning. I don't know how somebody was able to come to that conclusion, but the house burst into flames, and there's only these 2 large pillars left. That's one story that was told. The other story is children or teens used to hang out there and do bonfires and probably never put it out. And during the storm, the flames led to the house and the house went into flames. The land, nobody can go on there. Now, I don't know if they do have like tours or anything like that. I mean, you're touring basically the outside. I will put all of those links relating to Summerwind, but I would say if you do plan on visiting, carry sage with you. Anything that's there, it doesn't come back and follow you for whatever reason that is. Hauntings are the mystery where people will engage, and you have a lot of creators who make a lot of fake hauntings just for the views, instead of just saying, hey, I'm creating fake content and just get into the minds of people in a different way. It's kind of like that Twilight Zone episode you don't ever want to be trapped in. So let me know your thoughts on this story of Summerwind, and have you experienced your own haunting? And this is Maribel Blue signing off. As always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure you subscribe and get into the rewind. Comment down below and don't be shy, but be kind. And until then, we out. Yeah.